Good evening. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. Welcome to the City of Glendale's first public education meeting about the city's temporary sales tax increase. My name is Julie Waters, and I'm from the city's communications department. And on behalf of all the city staff who's here tonight, we want to say thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us tonight. Our main goal tonight is to educate you on the proposed cuts to the City of Glendale's general fund budget, provide education on the city's temporary sales tax increase, and the impact on all of this. When you walk through the door, you should have received a number, a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. Is there anybody who did not receive a number? Does everybody have a number? Okay, fantastic. In just a moment, we're going to have a short presentation from Glendale's Executive Director of Financial Services, Sherry Sherhammer. Sherry's going to give you a quick budget overview with some background history and a little bit of where we are right now. After that, we will divide into our respective groups of number 1s, number 2s, 3s, and 4s. And those numbers will then go to these 4 different stations. The stations are public safety in the back corner, which is police, fire, and courts. Community services, which is right back here. That's the library, parks and recreation, economic development, communications, neighborhood services, and public works. The third group is internal services, which is the city's financial services, human resources, risk management, and the IT department. And then the final group is over here. This is the appointed officials, which is the mayor and council offices, the city manager's office, the city attorney's office, city clerk, and intergovernmental relations. So you'll go to these stations for 15 minutes, then we'll rotate and you'll go to the next station for 15 minutes, and so forth. We'll do that 4 times for a total of an hour. And while you're at the different stations, you will get an overview of the proposed cuts to services and programs in each of those areas, and you can ask questions to city staff. You can get clarification on different information, and you can also provide feedback to the directors and the city staff who are here tonight. In addition, city staff will be writing down all of your comments and your questions. When we're done with the 4 rotations, we're going to reconvene in this section right here for final comments. If you have a comment you want to make publicly, we will have the microphone available. We'll move it for those who want to get up and make a comment to the entire group. That will not be a Q&A type session. We're hoping that most of the Q&A can happen in the smaller groups where you can be right there with the directors and get your answers. But for the public comment at the end, we'll have about 3 minutes if anyone wants to get up and make some public comments. Another way that you can make a comment is through a comment card. They're all in the seats here. You might have picked one up when you came in as well. You can put your comments on that card and then leave it with city staff. You can also find a representative from one of the departments and give your comments, your feedback, your questions to that person from the city as well, one of the directors. All of the comments that are made at tonight's meeting are going to be recorded, and we will be putting the comments that are made on the comment cards, etc. We will post them on the city's website. And that is so other residents can see the comments that are being made, and especially for those who might not be attending tonight, but they want to come to the others or who couldn't come to any of the meetings. Just a couple quick ground rules about the comments. We want to respect each other's ideas. We want to have everyone participate in the process tonight. And we want to also stay focused on our purpose of why we're here tonight, which is the public education. A final note before I introduce Sherry. City staff from Glendale 11, the city's TV station, is here tonight. They're going to be roaming the room with their video cameras, taping some of tonight to educate and inform our television viewers and also our viewers who watch us online about this meeting, what's going on at the meeting, and it's also a way to promote the 3 other meetings that the city is hosting throughout the rest of this month. So with that, we will now turn things over to Sherry Sherhammer. She's the finance director for the city. And please note again, to keep the evening moving, we're going to just have Sherry do her presentation. When she's done, we'll then go to our different groups. So we will hold off on any questions for Sherry. You can ask her questions when you get into the smaller group over here. Sherry?
Thank you, Julie. Good evening, everyone. I have 7 slides to go through, and I'll make it quick. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what we've been talking to council about over the last few weeks, what we have done prior to the sales tax increase, why the sales tax increase was implemented, and then the information we presented to council about what happens if the sales tax goes away. Okay. Over the last few weeks, we've been talking to City Council, our governing board, about a range of reductions that would be required if the sales tax either stays or goes away. And of course, there's some uncertainty about that right now, given the upcoming election. So what we've been talking to them about is, depending on the extent of the three issues that are listed down below, whether the sales tax remains in place, how the debt service is restructured, and the amount of the arena management fee, there are various financial scenarios that could play out for the city. And so we've identified a range of cuts, given the uncertainty about the sales tax. Those cuts range anywhere from 0 to 29 million. And the reason we're doing this is because it's a responsible approach for our governing board, the City Council, given how quickly cuts would have to be implemented if the sales tax goes away later this year. We do have the 4 scenarios posted over here on a poster board, and of course, if you have any questions, you can ask that of me later or of our city manager. One question I'm often asked in the civic meetings I've been attending and talking to is, why did we do a sales tax, and was anything done before we ever got to a sales tax? And the answer is yes. We went through 5 consecutive years of budget reductions to our operating budget. We cut $40 million, or 25%, out of our operating budgets. And the important thing to note here is that we limited public safety, police, and fire to about, as you can see, about 10% operating budget cuts. What that meant is all the other departments, such as Parks, Recreation, Library, Financial Services, Community Services, et cetera, all of those budgets were actually reduced more than the 25% to come up with the 25% average. In addition, because we're a service organization, and as a service organization, the bulk of our expenses is in the people who provide the services. As a result of the $40 million in budget cuts, we've also reduced our staffing by almost 310 positions in the general fund, or about 22%. After that was done, we also did an additional $1 million reduction in another 5 FTEs to accommodate the 2-tier sales tax that Council adopted at the end of June. And I'll talk about that in a later slide. As far as our sales tax history, we note here on the slide what our population was in 1993, and the reason we do that is because that's the last time that the general sales tax was raised. We do have dedicated sales tax for transportation and public safety. Those were raised in 94, 2001, and 2007. They were voter approved, and they are dedicated only to those services. So for example, the public safety sales tax, which was initially approved in 94 and then increased by the voters in 2007, that goes to pay only police and fire expenses. But an important thing to note is that for police and fire expenses, the public safety sales tax covers only 20% of the operating budget for police and fire. The other 80% is covered by the general fund. And over in the right-hand corner, what you see is out of the total sales tax rate that a consumer would spend in Glendale, 10.2%, 2.9% of it is associated with the city, or about 28% of the total rate. The other 72% of the rate is associated with the state, county, which is totals about 7.3%. Now, how much does the 0.7 of a sales tax increase make on a $50 purchase? That's what's shown on this slide. It's 35 cents extra on a $50 purchase, or 70 cents on a $100 purchase. Now, I realize that can add up for larger purchases, and for that reason, Council created a 2-tier sales tax system so that all single item purchases of $5,000 or more are taxed at the original rate of 2.2. That primarily would help you if you're purchasing a vehicle, but there are other high-ticket items such as an air conditioner you might purchase for a large house that could cost more than $5,000. And again, that's a single item purchase, not 10 items that equal $5,000. An important thing to note about the sales tax too, other than it being two-tier, is that it is set to sunset. That was put into the ordinance that council enacted back in June when it raised the sales tax. So it began on August 1 of 2012, and it's set to end by ordinance on August 1 of 2017. Is Glendale alone in raising the sales tax? The answer is no. There are over 30 cities in Arizona, as well as the state of Arizona, that raised its sales tax. And I think an important point to remember here is that Glendale was one of the last ones to raise its sales tax rate, and it only did so after it did 5 consecutive years of budget reductions first. This slide covers some of the city obligations that we are required to pay no matter what. Whether you agree with it or not is a separate issue. We have to do these things. For example, we are required to provide public safety, police, and fire. We do provide water, sewer, and sanitation services also. However, they are not funded by the general fund. They are funded by your user fees, so they're totally unaffected by the sales tax. Every year, we are legally required to balance our budget, just like the state is and every other city and town in Arizona. But it's unlike what the federal government does, such as deficit spending. We are legally required to balance our budget every year. We are also legally required to pay our debt service obligations. We're not like a homeowner that can walk away from its mortgage. We don't have that option. We do have to pay our debt obligations every year. And concerning the arena, which I realize is the elephant in the room, with or without a tenant, we still have to pay the annual debt service obligation. That's about $8 million a year. And we still have to pay the cost to operate and maintain it. Even if we shuttered the facility, totally closed it up, we would still have to provide some kind of minimal maintenance to the facility. In addition, if we totally shuttered the facility, we would lose about $2.5 million in sales tax revenue that's currently generated there that helps to pay the $8 million debt service on the arena. And most importantly, the sales tax increase was needed with or without city obligations to the arena, and that's why we've been talking to City Council about the up to $29 million in budget reductions, because that's what we would have to implement under certain financial scenarios if the sales tax goes away. Some of the services that we identified for City Council on September 25th, some of the services that we identified that would go away if the sales tax went away are listed here. We would close two libraries, and we would close a pool. We would end up reducing staff in parks maintenance and code compliance above and beyond the reductions that have already been done over the last 5 years. The biggest impact would be felt in police and fire, and that's because police, fire, and the city court, which is a mandated service, make up 63% of all of our expenses in the general fund. It is what it is. And while we've tried to minimize reductions to them in the past, and we've been able to do so over the last 5 years, we're no longer in that position any longer. Now we would have to do more significant cuts to police and fire. And as a result of the reductions that they've proposed, which are primarily to their civilian staff, not to the sworn staffing, because of reductions to civilian staff, it would mean that many of the sworn staffing or the officers or firefighters on the street would have to be pulled off their regular duties to provide some of those services. Because some of those services don't go away. For example, if you have a crime on your property and a report is taken, when the report goes back to the police department, it has to be filed someplace and recorded. That will not go away if the sales tax goes away. If the civilian staff person who provides that service goes away, the fact that that service still needs to be done doesn't go away. We still have to do it sooner or later. If you'd like more information about the city's finances, there are a number of areas on the city's website where you can go. More information about more information such as that provided tonight is available at Know the Facts under the Glendale website. If you're interested in our expenditures to see what we've actually spent in the city budgets, you can go to Follow Your Money. You can pull up the monthly expenditure reports. You get to see all the gory detail in there if you want to see it. As far as financial reports, such as our certified annual financial report, that's available under the finance area. If you're interested in the budget, which is the spending plan for the year, that's under the budget area. And of course, the city's main website is glendaleaz.com. And that's where you go to find all this information. And with that, that's the conclusion of my slide presentation.
Hi everyone, I'm Julie Waters. You just heard an overview from the city's finance director, Sherry Sherhammer. She talked about what the city has done the past 5 years to reduce the budget. Now, when you arrive, you'll be given a number, a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. You will then go to breakout sessions, just like this one right here, so you can actually listen in and talk to the department heads from the key service areas of the city.
So those reductions will definitely impact our ability to respond in a timely manner.
For example, station number 1 is public safety, representing the police and fire departments and the city's court system.
In particular, the closure of Velma Teague and Foothills Branch Libraries.
Community services, which covers economic development, parks and recreation. The libraries, communications, neighborhood services, and public works is another station.
When you pay by credit card, you're guaranteed to get your money.
A third group is internal services, consisting of the city's financial services, human resources, risk management, and the IT department. And the appointed officials group, which represents the mayor and council offices, the city manager and city attorney offices, the city clerk and internal government services, is the fourth station. As you go, you will rotate through each group about 15 minutes, and different directors from the departments will provide an overview of the key city services that will be affected in each department. During these 15-minute sessions, you will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide comments. Those comments will be written down by city staff. So after you've gone through each station, asked questions, provided feedback, given your comments, the meeting will then reconvene in this group area. There will be an additional amount of time for other public comments, as well as an opportunity to fill out written public comment forms. All of these public comments on these forms will be posted on the city's website, glendaleaz.com. So there are a total of 4 public meetings. This one right here is the first public meeting, but here's the information on the other 3 throughout the month of October. The second meeting will be held at Desert Mirage Elementary School, that's 86th Avenue in Maryland, on Monday, October 8th. The third meeting will be held at the Glendale Adult Center, 59th Avenue in Brown, and that one is Wednesday, October 10th. And the fourth meeting will be held at Rose Lane Recreation Center, that's Tuesday, October 30th, and the address is 50th Avenue and Marlette. All of the meetings start at 6 p.m. For more information, log on to the city's website. It's glendaleaz.com and click on Know the Facts. You can also give your budget comments online on the website. For Glendale 11, I'm Julie Waters.